Hey kid, what do you think you're doing here? You won't live long in combat. That's for sure. I tell you, kid, electric Pokemon saved me during the war. They zap my enemies to paralysis. The same I'll do to you. What's going on, trainers? Welcome to another episode of Professor Adventure. Hope you like that little intro scene, a little sneak into what we're going to be talking about today. So what if I told you that the Pokemon world isn't as peaceful as it seems? That beneath the smiles of gym leaders and the thrill of battles lies the shadow of a devastating war. One that shaped the very regions we know today. So if you know anything about Pokemon lore, you know that the beginning sequence that you just saw was an exact quote from Lieutenant Surge in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. Now, there is a long-standing theory that has been spanning since the very first games that a great Pokemon war happened. I know, it's hard to believe Pokemon's such an innocent game where we battle creatures and catch them and learn stuff about them. But there's a dark history there. A history that, yes, goes back as far as Gen 1, but is then again referenced in Gen 6 and X and Y, where we talk about the 3,000 Year War, AZ's war, where he created the ultimate weapon. But then we reference another day, one called the Darkest Day, in Gen 8 and Sword and Shield. Then we come to present day. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The underlining story of Area Zero. Zero. The Great Crater. Where time is a little wibbly wobbly. Where there's past Pokemon that we've never seen before, ancient forms, ancestors, and future paradox Pokemon, where something major had to have happened to create this large crater. There's references of war throughout all games. But what really was this war that he was talking about? And why was Lieutenant Surge the only adult male in Vermilion? And my other question is for you, what happened to all the adult males in the Kanto region? So, what if all these are connected in some way, fashion, or form? See, Game Freak, the ones who created Pokemon, has done a very good job at modeling everything after real-life inspirations. So we have Kanto and Johto and Hoenn and Sinnoh. They're all based off of areas in Japan, and the Pokemon there are based on mythologies and lore and so on and so forth. And we could literally go through every generation and name off exactly the region that it's based off of. Well, what if they didn't just base Pokemon and regions off real life? What if this real life war was based, or this Pokemon war was based on a real life war, right? See, if we take these three regions, or well, technically, three regions. We'll go with three. Could be a fourth if you add in Johto. But if we took these four regions and combined them to, say, World War One, World War Two, we've got Japan, France, UK, even Unova, being the US, is one of those regions where they talk about war. And what if this ultimate weapon in Kalos, or France, is based on a very different weapon in real life? The atomic bomb. What if all this energy, this infinity energy that the ultimate weapon has created, could be the same type of energy that was discovered with the atomic bomb? What if this same infinity energy also created something like Dynamax energy? The same energy used in Galar? It's an interesting concept. Now, when we take into account real life into the Pokemon world as inspirations, so what happens in a major war like World War II, or in this case, the Great Pokemon War? Maybe drafts where you have to be 18 or older and you get drafted into the war with your Pokemon, where you're sent on missions like Lieutenant Surge talks about paralyzing his foes, where you might have to make strikes with his electric Pokemon, or dive bombing with flying Pokemon. Maybe this could answer why in Gen 1 there are very few adult males. I mean, Electrode, even being exploding Pokemon, maybe they used him in bombs. I mean, there's so many different ideas and paths we could go on this one thought. And there's so many things like the adult males. How there's only older men in Kanto and young men like kids. But that also brings me to another thought. Why is it that every young trainer at the age of 10 must go to receive their brand new partner Pokemon, their first partner Pokemon? Could it be training up to how to use Pokemon? And instead of an aggressive, warlike time with Pokemon as weapons, what if they changed it and turned it into a sport? And as you go through all the different Pokemon battles, gym battles, and you face the Elite Four, maybe you're tested to see if maybe there is another great war they can call upon you. But now there's something else. What if, and we're still sticking in Kanto here, not Kalos, not Galar, Kanto. What about Team Rocket? Giovanni. He's an older man. He definitely could be fit for a Pokemon war. He's ruthless. But what if just like in real life wars. You gotta have somebody to supply the Pokemon. What if he had a company like Team Rocket? The government of Kanto wouldn't necessarily care where those weapons came from, those Pokemon. And now he still does it. Sells it to the highest bidder. It explains a lot, doesn't it? What if in Sinnoh, like people like Cyrus, he's old enough to be in the war. Maybe he wants to change the world. So no more wars happen, and he doesn't have to see the devastation that is caused by a Pokemon war. It's interesting. And what if, again, that ultimate weapon moving into Kalos was fired, and we know it was, and it ended up attacking a region, just like the World War, attacking multiple continents, countries. Well, they attacked Paldea, or maybe Galar was part of it, right? There's a lot of strings connecting this. And this ultimate weapon, like I said, creating infinity energy, maybe Dynamax energy. I mean, Pokeballs being made to capture Pokemon. Maybe that one's a little bit more of a stretch when you start adding in Arceus. But you have the Mega Evolution and Pokemon Centers, all this technology in these games. What if they were wartime discoveries? The healing tech, Mega Evolution powered by infinity energy. And then turned into peaceful tools for the sport that every kid and adult loves. And as we know, Game Freak tends to, in real lifetime between games, increases the time between each game. So that actual time passes, and we go from a generation 1 where it's still fresh on people's mind in an area where it's always thought about, to areas where it's not, or has been redacted or covered up as much as possible. But there's still remnants. Now, if we take into account the anime, what about Ash's father? We never see him. Maybe he's one of the casualties in some way, fashion, or form. All of this being parts of this battle. Whether it be repercussions, whether it be effects. But here's the thing. The Great Pokemon War may never fully be explained. Game Freak has done their best not to explain it, just like the regions. But its echoes are everywhere, through every single game. And in the silence of missing fathers, in the power of Mega Evolution, in the shadows behind the smiling gym leaders. These are the echoes of the Great Pokemon War. So I leave you with one last question. What do you think happened during the Great Pokemon War? What caused it? Do you think we'll see any more of it? let me know in the comments. And, as always, make sure to like this video, share it out to everybody, and hit that subscribe button if you want some more lore. I've been coming up with a lot of awesome stuff, and I have a lot of awesome stuff in the pipes. It's going to be great. So, until next time, into our next lore deep dive. Hope all your adventures are good. And hope you catch some shinies along the way. Catch y'all later.